What an exciting time, huh? We're just a matter of 23 days away from opening day, which has our organization extremely excited. And we can't wait to welcome our fans back home to Petco Park. I know there's a few additional moving parts this year around that topic than you would have in a normal season, given the overlay of the pandemic. Thankfully, our continued what appears to be move out of and beyond the pandemic, and then the overlay of regulations in California that will reduce our capacity. So I wanted to just start out by providing some baseline information for everybody, and then, as Craig mentioned, I'm happy to take any questions you might have. So it was announced last Friday, as no doubt you all saw, that in collaboration with the governor and his senior advisors, the 5 California clubs were able to put together a set of guidelines that the governor announced that will allow us in the red tier to begin to have 20% capacity in our ballparks. This was a collaborative effort between the 5 California clubs. I like to say that there's always a lot more cooperation on the business side than there is the baseball side between the clubs in California. But we were able to work effectively over a lot of conversations, frankly, behind the scenes, where we found the governor and his senior staff to be incredibly collaborative and thoughtful about how this could be, become a reality by opening day, but also be done in a way that continues to be safe and protective of Californians. So that was exciting. We announced that. My understanding, I'm not the one that decides these things, but my understanding is that midday today, it'll be announced that San Diego has officially moved into the red tier, which is great news as our case counts continue to go down. And that will, in effect, put us in a position without any doubt to host fans at 20% capacity on opening day. So that is a very good thing. We're thrilled to welcome our fans back home to Petco Park. Last season, many of us in the organization have talked about how it was a bittersweet season for us. We broke through playing winning baseball for the first time in a decade, making the playoffs for the first time in 14 years, winning the first ever playoff game and playoff series in Petco Park history. So that was the sweet. The bitter was, apart from many of you in the media who we love to have around, we didn't have anybody else in the ballpark, so we weren't able to share that with our fans. And so we're extremely excited. We've been working for a long time to prepare for this day, and I think it'll be the loudest 20% capacity crowd you've ever heard in Petco Park history on opening day. Safety continues to be our primary priority as an organization. Safety of our employees, safety of all of our guests and fans that we have in Petco Park, and safety of our players. I'm confident that when we reopen Petco Park on opening day, it will be one of the safest places to be in San Diego. As I mentioned, we put a lot of time and effort into preparing for this. Because of how dynamic capacity is going to be this year, even the rubric that was released last Friday from the governor outlines 3 potential different attendance thresholds, depending upon which tier we're in. And then even within the orange tier, there's the potential to even go higher in the event that people have been vaccinated or tested, proof of vaccination. We don't have specific guidelines on that yet, so I just can't speak to the specifics. All we got was what you received last Friday publicly. But the bottom line is, whether it's under that rubric or eventually if conditions continue to improve and we reach a rate of vaccinations in the San Diego region and California as a whole, where the governor feels comfortable, I would anticipate we might even be at full capacity at some point this season. I think that's a very distinct possibility. I can't tell you when we're going to increase capacity from 20%. I also can't tell you exactly what percentages we'll hit as we go, because there's still things that we need to learn that are detailed in nature. But the bottom line is, we've anticipated that this was going to be a very dynamic season. We may start with no fans. We may start with reduced capacity of 20-25%. That will likely and hopefully increase, and maybe even towards the back half of the season get to something that's closer to full capacity, including for the postseason. So we made the decision that it was in the best interest of our ticket members to provide them with a maximum amount of flexibility, including the ability to opt in or opt out for the initial segment of the season, with the understanding that we're still at a point where some of our season ticket members may not feel comfortable returning to a mass gathering, even though it'll be safe and socially distanced. So we designed basically a 3-tier season or segment season, each 2 months in length. So the first segment would be the months of April and May, June, July, and then August and September. And then hopefully there's a fourth segment, and that's the playoffs. So what we're doing is we're not going to be selling any tickets outside of our members, and we may not even be selling any tickets, and I'll talk about that in a moment, to anybody in the general public. But we won't be doing that in any event, even if we have them available for anything more than the first 2 months of the season. So we're taking it 2 months by 2 months. We reserve the right to change that as we go too, because we're off the map. But what we've gone out with is 3 weeks ago, we sent a survey. This was reported publicly. We sent a survey to our members. It went out to over 7,000 members, and we had about 4,400 responses, which is a really high response rate for a survey. And I think is indicative of the passion that our fan base feels right now towards this team. And based on the response from that survey, it was our determination that our opt-in rate of season ticket members would probably be around 70% based on the way they responded. So we anticipated that 30% of our season ticket members would opt out and say, for whatever reason, I'm not interested in attending the first 2 months. I'll take the credit. I'll apply it to later in the season, or I'll take a refund and I'll deal with you on that. We went out with a follow-up communication yesterday to our members. And this was not a survey. This was, here's what we're going to do. You need to let us know by this Friday whether you're going to opt out. As of this morning, we are seeing a much higher opt-in rate than 70%. I think that's probably the result of improving conditions over the last several weeks with the pandemic, increasing vaccinations, and increasing excitement regarding the team and the season. And in light of the fact that now we're dealing with an announcement that was made last Friday, where now it's real. People know we'll be at 20% capacity. So I can't tell you yet whether we're going to have any single game tickets available. It's looking likely that for the first 2 months of the season, we will not. We've always said that our members, by virtue of being a season ticket member, will get priority access. Priority access to what? Everything that's available. That's it. That's it, guys. I can't tell you yet. I don't know. But what we have available, only members will get access to it initially. And the only way we would even have a single game on sale for the first 2 months is if there's enough tickets to satisfy each of our membership plans in the order of full season, half season, partial season, seating location, tenure, how long they've been a member. And I don't know the answer yet, but it's looking likely that we will only have enough tickets available for our members, and maybe not even all of our members for the first 2 months. So there's still a great benefit to membership. We've always been transparent, as we've even been selling new memberships, that we can't guarantee anything other than priority access because we just don't know what's going to be available yet. We don't know how many people are opting in or opting out. And we don't know, obviously, when we're going to have capacity at different levels. But anybody who walks in today or calls over the phone or sends an email will be given the option to place a deposit, and that'll continue to get them priority access, but it may only be priority access for segment 2 and segment 3 because there's nothing available for them in segment 1. It'll for sure be priority access if we're at full capacity or increased capacity, including the postseason and including getting in line for 2022 with preferential seating location. Well, we're going to use every inch of the ballpark to seat people, I can tell you that. When you create pods of no more than 6, and they're all at least 6 feet apart, because that's the social distancing rule, You know, there's not going to be an inch of Petco Park that isn't going to have a pod of seating somewhere in it. So the entire ballpark will be utilized, including Gallagher Square. We're going to have white squares painted in the grass there. And those will be the pods. We'll also take some areas that traditionally would have been standing room only, which is not allowed. And we'll actually create fixed seating locations there using chairs and high top tables that will be assigned to specific people. And we'll be socially distanced, and we'll be in pods of no more than 6. And all of those areas are also all open air. So, you know, the safest possible format you could have. We will have concessions. You know, the state guidelines require us to operate mostly remote with concessions. So remote ordering, contactless payment. We will have an option to have food and beverage delivered directly to your seat. We'll also have probably some pickup locations immediately behind different seating sections where it's easier for people to just one person from the group to go up and get the food and bring it back down. They can do that as well. And then we would hope that as we get to larger capacity, you know, some of those rules also relax and we can get back to a more traditional food and beverage experience. We will, out of necessity, have to pare down the amount of food offerings just to make sure that we can execute on it at a high level with our concessionaire. But as I mentioned earlier, the one thing we will not compromise is the safety of our guests. And so everything that we've done has been designed to make food preparation, ordering, payment, remote, contactless as safe as possible. We will continue to test make testing available for all of our game day employees. And also we've got enhanced safety and sanitation protocols. And one thing you'll see a lot of are hand sanitizer stations. We have hundreds of them throughout the ballpark. You know, we do have a broker policy where our season ticket members are only allowed to sell up to half their seats. But that's always been a key point of flexibility and benefit to our season ticket members, that especially if you're a full season holder, you know, there's times where you're not going to be able to go to the game. And so we will still allow, subject to the guidelines, our fans to resell tickets. Our hope, they're going to be really well positioned to benefit from some of the scarcity principle that we're seeing in the first part of the season. Our hope is that this fan base and our season ticket member base is going to want to be at the game themselves, cheering for the team. We do have certain health screenings, definitely for all of our employees. The general public, so ticket holders, when they come in, they will not go through a temperature scan. That's not required by Major League Baseball. It's our understanding that that is something that is not required and not recommended. And so we will not be doing temperature screens. It is the rule. And, you know, we don't control the secondary market, and there's no way for us to control the secondary market. But that rule still applies. It applies with our primary sales. It's to only California residents. So we will have in the purchase flow for tickets. I mean, if it's all members, there is no purchase flow because members have already given us their address and we have that information. But if we get to the point where we are potentially selling single game tickets, there will be a requirement that folks, you know, acknowledge or click through that they are a California resident. And yeah, I mean, it's dynamic right now, both in terms of the total capacity and how many of our Padres members are opting in. I mean, I think it's a tough ticket to get. I think, you know, for them to try to get a ticket, it's probably going to be a pretty significant premium. Maybe they enjoy staying in LA and watching the Dodgers play there.